One of the great modelers of all time was John Allen. His legendary Gory and Defeated railroad was an example of one man's love of the hobby. The loss of the layout to fire shortly after John's death leaves us only with memories and a few photos of this spectacular early monument. Senior correspondent Chuck Zahner helps us remember a lost layout.
In a space 24 by 32 feet, the late John Allen of Monterey, California, built a model railroad which would be one of the best known in the model railroad world. And for over 20 years, his model railroad would set the standard as an art form in model railroading. And with me today is Andy Sperandeo, managing editor of Model Railroader magazine, who knew John Allen very well. Tell us about the world of the Gory and Defeated.
He began working on it in the 1940s when close-up detailed modeling was something not many people were trying to do. It was hard enough in those days just to build a locomotive that ran or build a model railroad at all. And he took the hobby in many ways to new heights. But beyond that, he had the artistic knack of making you think that there was more detail in his modeling than there really was. And he used out-and-out visual trickery to make you think things were there when they really weren't, or to make you think you were seeing something that should have been there when he didn't have room to model it. His first layout was, of course, very small, and even so, it had the seed of everything that he did later on. It had some of his most famous buildings on it, the engine house that he built with pigeons on the roof and very nice weathering, when again, weathering was something that most people were not trying to do. He built two larger layouts after that, but the initial small portable layout became the centerpiece of both those layouts. It was incorporated or included right in the middle of it. John was a wonderful guy to be around. He lived alone, so I suppose he was kind of looking for company and happy to have somebody to have a conversation with. And when we got together at his house on Tuesday nights for operating sessions, there was always a pretty good bull session before we ever got downstairs to the railroad. The Gory and Defeated was a railroad built to be operated like a real railroad. Trains ran on schedule. They delivered freight cars to industries. Plus, all this was set in the what he called the Achenbach Mountains, a very tortuous mountain range, which required grades up to 4%, so that the locomotives that he used were really pulling prototype-sized trains. Plus, you were working with other people, and that really made the railroad come alive, too.
Tell us about the final outcome of the Great Empire.
The layout was destroyed by a fire after he died. The only locomotive left from the railroad is this model of number 34, one that he built back in 1952, and which was given us to display at Model Railroader by John's good friend Cliff Robinson.
If John were alive today, I'm wondering, what type of advice would he give model railroaders?
Oh, I think he would tell them to find the part of the hobby that they enjoyed the most. Not to pay too much attention to what other people told them they should be doing. I think that's what he always tried to do. It was a hobby that he took seriously. He always kept a sense of humor about it too, and always was able to enjoy a good laugh on himself or with his friends. And I think that would be something he'd want people to remember.
John Allen was truly a fascinating individual who created a wonderful world of illusion. For Tracks Ahead, this is Chuck Zahner.